Your Honors, distinguished members of the European Court for Human Rights, my name is Marchis Alexandru Emil. I come in front of you with a notice to explain my situation better in a criminal lawsuit. I was defended in a 4-year lawsuit and convicted with 4 indisputable evidence that was not taken into account. I was hoping until this day the Romanian state will make justice with my case, but I was wrong, and this is why I come in front of you. I hope this will be a short video. I will do my best to make it short, but it's a long process with a lot of evidence. So we are in 2 of April 2020, and we are filming this at the 7:08 p.m. We are in the studio of my company, the post-production studio. To begin, my profession is economist. I have a faculty degree and a master degree. I am a small businessman with a multimedia company in my city. I evolved as a journalist. I have positive results in my work, but I'm also a husband and a father to a 4-year boy. And the Romanian state did not protect young families like it's writing in our Romanian constitution. These 4 years had been a hell to me. The Romanian state and the prosecution put me down. Your Honors, I have been put to the ground by the prosecution of the city of Bacau. I have dragged through the mud. I got a heart condition of arrhythmia, exosystolic arrhythmia. Sorry, I read because I'm not aware of the medical terms or the law terms. So it's a heart condition that evolved exactly in this process, and I can prove that I was healthy before starting this process. I lost my branding in Bacau. I lost my clients. I lost a big part of my company. I lost my image, and the biggest loss that I had is I lost the feeling and the joy of working. The man who is the injured party is a bodybuilder that attacked me with a sharp knife or a metal object, like I said in all my statements. I have 4 incontestable proofs that a judge from the background process, or in Romanian it's called fond, did not take into the consideration. One of that proofs is an incredible testimony, or better said, the conspiration of the injured party, that in the appeal or call, he told the judge exactly what happened, and even the judges from the appeal or the call did not acquittal me.
Și ceea ce s-a întâmplat a fost în fața garajului, la distanță mare de ușile garajului, chiar în, să zic așa, în partea carusabilă, dacă aș putea spune.
Bun, și era pe aceeași latură, deci era la...
Latura sau ușile garajului pe partea opusă, într-adevăr, dar v-am zis, noi eram mult depărtați de garaj. Noi eram mult depărtați de garaj. Noi eram mult depărtați de garaj. Aveam mașina scoasă din garaj, ușile erau închise, eram în spatele mașinii cu portbagajul ridicat, pregătind să-l închid pentru a pleca. Când s-a întâmplat incidentul, eram pregătit să intru în mașină. Eram pregătit să intru în mașină. Eram pregătit să intru în mașină.
Briefly, the second proof is that the injured party has admitted the act in press at a national station to a colleague of mine, and he admitted what he done.
Am scăpat cu viață și mă bucur că am avut un moment de luciditate în care mi-am văzut de treabă și m-am întors. Să nu fi continuat discuția.
The third proof is also important because the statements of the injured party are contradictory and lying. And also in one of his statements, he admit the act. And the fourth proof, and this is also important, is that I filmed with a hidden camera the witnesses of the injured party, which confessed to me the act, and they saw the attack, and in front of the judges said was not an attack, and they lied.
Și de ce n-ai declarat cu a venit spre mine?
Dar el a venit spre tine după ce ai scos toamnă.
Păi, corect.
Știu cu mărturiile, cum te-ai dus să te interesezi despre mine, cine sunt eu, cum sunt eu, unde...
Bineînțeles, frate, vreau să știu dacă ești om corect sau nu.
Frate, dar nu-i corect. Nu-i corect.
De ce corect? Dar e corect tu să minți în declarație?
Dar nu-i corect pentru tine, îți spun.
Ok,
Da?
deci
Să
pentru
iei
mine.
legătura cu mine, să iei legătura cu martori, să iei legătura cu altcineva. Da?
Băi, omule, dar să văd că ai luat ceva în mână, să vii să mă lovești, dar ce dracu să fac? Dar acum, hai pe bune acum, ce dracu să fac? Nu, eu ți-am zis, eu vreau să ies la o cafea cu tine, eu n-am vrut alte intenții, uite. Mă vezi cum
Eu
sunt.
când vorbeam la telefon cu tine, nu știam ce să fac, băi, stai de viață. Imediat mă sunau.
Mergeam la o cafea, mergeam la un spațiu public dacă ești îngrijorat de ceva.
Era spre un rău tău era. Îți făceai rău. Mâna ta. Crede-mă. Și poți să te interesezi pe oriunde așa să vezi ce înseamnă influențarea martorului.
Să știi că eu nu mă las până nu ies adevărul. Jur, toată viața nu mă las. Pur și simplu trebuia să zici adevărul sau să nu te bagi. Una din astea două.
Aici a fost o situație și o conjunctură.
Te-a luat și pe tine și pe Marius. Hai, că știu care-i treabă. Lui Marius cât te-a promis? I-a promis 1000 de euro.
Nu e adevărat și vrei să mă juti copilul meu.
Marius are mari probleme cu banii.
Nu. La mine nu se pune problema de treaba asta. Da? Și n-a fost asta la mine. Da? A fost tot o altă conjunctură. Da?
Mie mi se pare...
Fiori, nu, a venit la Fiori, nu a fost...
Tu te-o băgat, știi ce ți-o făcut? Te-o atins la punctul sensibil la copil.
E adevărat asta.
Asta te-o atins.
Apel reacționai.
Atâta te rog, fii om cu coloană vertebrală. Spune ce s-a întâmplat. Încerc de la garaj să văd dacă se observă ceva. O să ridic o mână ca să confirm că sunt aici, tocmai lângă mașină. Deci se vede cameramanul, avem unghi. Unde era mașina? Aici era mașina. Și el era atacatorul, respectiv fost Ionuț, lângă, între mașină și garaj. Dar ce ai declarat, mă, mâncați așa acolo? Cum ai băgat în belele, nu mai știu ce cum. Dar declarația ți-am arătat cu toate. Păi da, mă, frate, dar ai zis că nu s-a mișcat de la mașina acolo, ai zis că nu... Băi, dacă nu veni spre mine și mi-a făcut cu mâna...
A, păi și după aia ai tras, păi el după aia s-o retras, păi el după aia s-o retras, păi el după aia s-o retras.
Păi da, tată, dar au venit spre mine ca să-și guream.
In 4 years, he threatened me with acts of violence during this trial or process. He even hit me with his car. I have 12 claims to the prosecution. I have 12 claims to the police in the city Bacau and the prosecution of the city of Bacau, and no one did nothing. I have 15 calls to 112 is the emergency number of Romania. I have witnesses. I have a lot of videos. I don't have 1 or 2 videos that I filmed the injured party threatened me with acts of violence. I have 10 or 11 videos which he and his brother and also their father threatened me with acts of violence when he hit me with his car into a attempt to kill, and they have by now 4 files, 4 criminal files opened up at the prosecution of Bacau.
Dar vezi de treaba ta. Vezi de treaba ta. Deci vezi de treaba ta, băi, țăranule.
Vrei să pleci în sânge, ești prost și acum, dacă vrei oricând.
Băi, termină cu treburile astea. Deci pentru chestiile astea, hai să faci plată, Ionuț. Nu, tu ești handicapat.
Am mea școală în familia ta. Pe toată nația ta.
Ce vrei, mă?
Cine-ți bagi pula?
Ce vrei?
Cine-ți bagi pula? Să nu mai filma, închide telefon. Filmezi ca dus.
Asta ce, suna la poliție? Tu ai sunat la poliție, băi. Iar ameninți? Iar ameninți, nu? Vezi că ai amenințat. Păstrează-ți distanță. Păstrează-ți distanță. Păstrează-ți distanță.
So, to explain you what happened, on the 17/06/2016, right under in my back, I have a window, and there are streets. Over this window, I have outside a video camera, a surveillance camera that is orientated on my cars. So a neighbor of mine parked in a space that I usually park there. And here in this neighborhood, I had the car damaged. There are a lot of thieves. I get ripped out of my mirrors of the car. The car was hit, and I have a lot of problems with the thieves. So I mount myself a surveillance camera to catch these individuals. So the injured party lived back in back with my apartment, and he, for 3 or 4 days, he parked his car exactly in front of my windows of this office. So I learned a thing in Bucharest: to raise the windshield wipers and to notice someone if it's a problem. So this is what I done. I left the wipers to notice him, to leave me in that space, to have my cars in the surveillance camera. In that day, 17/06/2016, he come at our door, because we have the home which we are living into it, and we have an office, also an office here. And Mateo, our boy, had 6 months when this unhappy event was, and this neighbor, Jose Ionuț, came into our house at 11:20 p.m. So at night, he woken up our baby boy. And I talked to him on this very window that I have behind me. Even if I told him right in this minute as we talk, I have a security camera recording him, and he threatened me 2 more times. By the end, the discussion, and I managed to get the discussion calm, and he invited me to go at his door and talk with him, and not doing this gesture by raising his wipers. I agree with them, and I promised I will go to his door. Your Honors, in that period of time, I got to tell you that my father was having cancer. He was at the Bacau hospital, and he also had a heart condition, and my mother was also in the Bacau hospital with a stroke. The very next day I went to the hospital, and after visiting my parents, I was planning to go and talk with my neighbor, because I know, and I had problems in my childhood with this family. I have problems with them. I know that they are bad people. They also threaten other people. they beat other people, and I was planning to shake the hand, like we say, and go to talk, to have a normal conversation, human conversation, to explain that I didn't want to degenerate something or make something to annoy him. So I went to his house. It responds, I think he was his wife or his girlfriend by then, and she directioned me that is it's not in the house and it's at the garage. So I saw him at the garage and I go and talk to him. I raise my hand, I give a big shake. He was very surprised to see me, and I talked with him. I said I don't have any reasons to argue with him or to annoy him. I just want to shake the hand, and I hope there will not be hard feelings for last night for raising him the wipers. And he talked nice at first. He said he didn't think that is a nice gesture to raise his wipers, and I said I learned this from Bucharest. I went to the Bucharest with the company, and there people do not argue with the wipers. It's just noticed gesture. Now, I told you that I am a small businessman. I bought myself a gun for protection, with papers in 100% legal, because this is my activity. My company is also 100% legal, and I decided to carry the gun for my personal protection and my family protection. So I take and carry the gun 90% of my time with me. I was carrying it hidden. I was carrying into my blouse or in my personal leather bag. I was being discreet with the gun, and in that day, on 18/06/2016, I was carrying the gun with me. After we talked a couple of minutes, I told him my problems, but I also told him that I have very expensive cameras and equipments in my car, and I sensed to him then that something was not right. He began to be a little annoyed about this. I told him some sums of some cost of several cameras, and I saw something in him that I remember I saw in our childhood. When I sensed the situation was a little bit weird, he told me, okay, but if you are going one more time to rise, or in the next future, if you will rise my wipers, I will beat you up. When I heard this, I said, okay, neighbor, but I come to you, I shake my hand with you to say I don't have hard feelings, so why do you do it this? Why do you threaten me with acts of violence? So when I saw he threatens me, I left the area and I made 10 meters from him. I had a t-shirt, a long t-shirt, and my gun was in the back with the t-shirt covering it. But it remained, when I turned, it remained the handle, and it saw the handle and it figured out there is a gun to my back. I had a gun for almost half a year carrying with me, and when he saw the gun, he said, thinking maybe at the fifth, you will not do anything. He said to me that I will not do anything with that gun. And I said that this gun is for my personal protection. I don't want to talk with you because you threatened me before. I will go to my home. Next, he thinks, wait a minute, stay there. Did you come with the gun to threaten me? And I said, no, it's for my personal protection. And the next thing, he took a metal object from his garage, because the doors of his garage was closed, but he has a third door, small door of access. So from that door he took a small blade or a screwdriver tip And then he came to me and threatened me that will hit me with that object. In that moment, I got scared. I take from my bag the gun, I loaded, and I told him I have 3 seconds to act, and I told him to stay there because it's for his own good, and he didn't want to listen. He came to me, and when he got not very close to me, I shoot one single fire or one single bullet into the main air, like this one, to discourage him to hit me. When he heard and he saw that it was a real gun, was a non-lethal gun with rubber, the bullet was with rubber in the front, but it has powder, and it has a big explosion, a big sound making. That gun was a Ford R17, I think, and when he heard that noise, he frozen, and the next thing he did, he put his hand into the pocket, rise up the mobile phone, he dialed 112, the emergency number, and he said to me, for this thing I will do you. In Romanian, I don't know exactly how to translate. In Romanian, it's lasă că te fac eu pe tine. I turned my back and go immediately to my house and appeal to 112, the emergency number, and reported the unhappy incident. Your Honors, from now I will try to be as briefly as possible, not to make this film very long. So I waited in the front of my home, the police to come, and when I saw the police car, I went into that parking. Was Saturday, I didn't mention this, and I go to and reported to the police. When I arrived in that parking, he started to threaten me in the front of the cops, and the cops did not do anything. More of this, the threats are recorded by my press colleagues. They're recorded, and we journalists usually take samples from CEDO. So my colleagues, when they took the samples, they filmed this attacker, and in that videos you will see that he is next to a couple of friends of his, also bodybuilders, and he started to threaten me that will move me from this neighborhood, and he will show to me. Right after the gunfire shooting in self-defense, we both give to the press some statements. And in his statement, given right after the incident, he admitted he returned from an action, but he didn't say the last words to hit me, but he said to control himself. He also said in that statement that I wanted to kill him. So how can you kill somebody when you're shooting in vertical plan, in main air? How can you kill someone?
Lupta pentru un loc de parcare poate ajunge până la focuri de armă. S-a întâmplat în Bacău, unde 2 vecini au uitat de prietenia veche de 3 decenii. Unul dintre ei ar fi sărit la bătaie cu o armă albă, celălalt avea la el o armă cu foc. A tras cu un pistol cu bire din cauciuc fără să-și rănească adversarul, iar acum scandalul are iz penal.
A scos pistolul și a zis, vezi că este real, undeva din zona de casă.
Și în zona asta mi indicați așa, deci aici o tras focul, da?
Undeva de aici.
Așa să vă fac din partea aia. Da. În fotografie. Perfect, atât. El a luat un obiect metalic, nu
recunosc dacă este cuțit sau șurubelniță, și a venit cu mâna dreaptă să mă lovească cu acel obiect. Am încărcat arma, ținând arma în poziție verticală, l-am somat ca să se oprească și să nu se mai apropie de mine.
Scandalul a fost înăbușit cu un foc de armă, de avertisment însă, tras cu un pistol cu bile din cauciuc. Emil și Ionuț se cunosc din copilărie, însă prietenia a dispărut după o ceartă pe locul de parcare. Acum, disputa declanșată după scenariul clasic al luptei pentru un petic de asfalt s-a transformat într-o anchetă penală.
Am scăpat cu viață și mă bucur că am avut un moment de luciditate în care mi-am văzut de treabă și m-am întors. Să nu fi continuat discuția.
El a spus că deja e personală treaba pentru că i-am ridicat ștergătoarele. Este prima dată când folosesc arma ca să mă apăr.
Se acuză unul pe altul, legitimă apărare versus provocare. Deocamdată poliția i-a ridicat pistolarului arma pe care o deținea legal, dar cearta încă mocnește.
A fost violent, cred că violent este și acum, am mai surprins eu în momente în care a rupt ștergătoare la alte mașini, a agresat femei.
Eu știu pe el un băiat liniștit din copilărie, dar avea momentele lui de agresivitate, într-adevăr.
Emil, cel cu locul de parcare ocupat abuziv, e deja părinte, celălalt urmează să devină. Cel mai probabil vor ajunge în instanță. Poliția face cercetări pentru uz de armă neletală fără drept, dar nu vrea să dea mai multe amănunte.
Right after this, we went to the police and give two statements. In the first statement of the attacker, he admitted that m-am retras. I retreat, it means. This means that he retreated from an action. He admitted he retreated from me, but he didn't say anything about a sharp object, a metal object in his hand. I told the entire and the truth, every detail to the police. In that statement, I said he has a sharp object willing and he was in an action to hit me. I used the gun to defend myself. This is what I took the gun for. This is why I have in the papers of the gun, it says clearly self-defense and non-lethal weapon. So the next days when he saw me, he was with his fist right in the air and he threatened me with an act of violence. I ignored him and I ignored him now, and this ignoring took to nothing because he started from the threats started to get to violent acts. So for 3 or 4 months nothing was happening. The police take our statements, saw what was happening. They knew that I was in the self-defense because I have 15 meters between his garage and my going to the home and to my road to the home back. And the police said nothing. But in this period of time, the attacker, Ionuț, had a plan, and he started to talk with the neighbors. On the internet, he started to put messages, defamation messages, rude messages, and threatened messages referring to me. And he started, I noticed and I saw when he talked to the neighbors around here and he told them that I wanted to kill his brother to make me a bad image. And they succeeded. I had a difficult period. I was in mourning, and even in mourning they didn't let me bury my father like a good Christian, and they threatened me, even his brother threatened me with act of violence. Then I had 2 complaints to the police and told the police to look at their behavior of threatening me even in mourning. In the stage of the prosecution, Ionuț, the attacker, demanded that the prosecutor follow this case and he will testify or state or give statements in the present, only in the presence of a prosecutor. A prosecutor invite both of us to give statements, so we give 2 more statements, and all of my 3 statements are the same, and his 3 statements someone learn him or direction him to modify them, so are modified. After this, the prosecutor sent me to the liar detector. So the liar detector was the idea of the attacker. He made the first test, and the second test I made it in different days, and something was not right. My health condition was not right because I had some weird feelings inside my chest, and some doctor at the routine check said I have a arrhythmia. I was not acknowledged what that means, and I said to the prosecutor that I have arrhythmia. I have, before telling me about this lying detection test, that I have this diagnosis, but I'm also going to another doctor to check out if it's real. He said to make the test because he don't knows if the arrhythmia affects the lying detection test. I will do without an hesitation this test if the arrhythmia does not affect the lying detection test. The prosecutor told me to go to the psychologist, which is the chief of that lying detection test, and tell him this information, or her. I accepted the test, I went to the psychologist, and I told her that I have this condition, I have medical documents, and she told me that this arrhythmia, it's not a problem. It doesn't affect in any way the lying detection test. I then talk and appeal to this lady, a psychologist, to be true, and I hope this test will be relevant, and I hope, and I said something, I hope you are not with them because I am alone in this problem. After I said this, she told me let's make the test because now I'm going to call DGA. DGA, it's anti-corruption. DGA in Romania, it's something like anti-corruption team or squad. So I started to have palpitations. I told her this, and he gave me to a room with a black chair and a small room. There was a camera orientated, a surveillance camera orientated to that chair, and she told me that the injured party was with a week before this test, and I was starting to feeling this palpitation more and more rapid. I gave the test, and it appears I failed this test. The test took into consideration, and the Romanian laws said that this is an orientation. For this test is not relevant. This is only to make an image, and the test was taken into the consideration 100%. Right after the test, I had the quality, the prosecutor told me I had the quality of the defendant. I said to him that this is not right. I consume a lot in this prosecution step, in this stage, and I told him this is not right. I'm not guilty for nothing. I'm an innocent person self-defending. I didn't injure anyone. I just defended myself, and he didn't believe me. Referring to this psychologist, Tănase Daniela, was found incompatible with the national agency by dropping the disposition of Article 96 of 161 from the year 2003 and the Article 45 from the law 360 from the year 2002. And she was suspended. I found out from the press. I'm a journalist. I made my diggings to find out the truth about this person that put me as a defendant. And when I read the prosecution documents, the attacker became the injury party. He has two witnesses that from the buildings around that parking space where I shoot a single fire, they testify for him. They also had 3 statements that they said that Hozionuț did not attack me on any form. Hozionuț did not had anything in his hand, and Hozionuț stayed between his car and his garage. Because when I talked to him, he was having the car in the front of his garage. When I read this nonsense, these lies, I couldn't believe there exist these people that would lie, because Hozionuț and his brother tricked people thinking I wanted to kill him. I saw that in Romania a gunfire is not being seen good at all. It's different situation from America. Here, if you are shooting a fire and you are in the self-defense, you are not being seen good at all. So the prosecutor started to put the policeman in charge of this case, harass me with a lot of phone calls. So I get in one single day 10 phone calls from the police. Even I have print screens for this. I took my wife to the prosecutor as a witness because I want to demonstrate to the prosecutor that I could take the gun with the day before when he came to my house and threatened me. If I was a bad guy, I could shoot him right then when he came to my house at night and woken up my baby. So I didn't do this. I explained to the prosecutor it's not possible 2 persons, 2 witnesses to talk nonsense, to lie, and I think to take a camera and film them. And I told him I was a fool to tell this information to the prosecutor, but was not a problem in time. And I told the prosecutor I will film the both witnesses. If I will film the both witnesses, if will clear my name, it will if it will let me loose from this accusation. So the prosecutor told me, yes, if you will bring me the confession of these 2 witnesses saying that Hozionuț attacked you, okay, I will let you loose. So I didn't know that I was not allowed to talk with the witnesses. In Romanian laws, it appears in the criminal lawsuits, you are not allowed to talk with the witnesses, but I didn't have peace inside. I was very restless inside. I wanted to film them and to prove the truth. And I started in here I have the numbers of the witnesses, and I called. The first witness I called, it's named Dragoș Pintilie, and it's an employee of the company, if it has relevance. And I started to talk with him, to meet at a coffee and talk what he saw. I wanted to record it and to see what he saw, because he lied in the statements. And he somehow avoided me. I have 7 days or 6 or 7 days calling him, and he delayed. He delayed every time. In that time, the police called me and they told me to go to the police station, because I'm not allowed to talk with the witnesses, and signed a document about this. And I agreed. And after this, the prosecutor called me and to the prosecution building, to the prosecution offices in Bacau, and told me that he must make a procedure with me. I didn't know what is that procedure. It appears that procedure is sold in Romanian languages control judiciar. If I'm telling right, is judicial control, because I talked to a witness. I didn't talk about the case at the phone. I have the recordings, audio recordings. I didn't talk to the case. I wanted to meet with him. This was my intention. When he gave me this judicial control, I didn't talk about the case with the witnesses. I wanted only to meet with him. Then I appeared in front of a judge who said that this measure is legal and it will apply to me. So the prosecutor basically said he will put one time per week to sign at the police station. This was the procedure. I also said to this prosecutor called Marchis Alexandru to launch the trial, the process, because I was 100% that the judge will find me unguilty. But sincerely, gentlemen, I didn't know what I was going into, and basically how is the Romanian justice system. Returning to 28/03/2017, the Hozu brothers had exactly at the near to the spot where I executed gunfire, had a space that is a business space. It's a gym run by them, and next to the gym I took the garbage. It's a place specially to take out garbage, and every time I go on that route, they came outside, especially Hozu came outside and threatened me, swear to me. I ignored him. I told him to leave me in the peace. But on 28/03/2017, his brother attacked me, swear to me, and threatened me with acts of violence. I showed to the prosecutor a lot of evidence, the evidence of threatening me in the day of the gunfire. After that, I filmed them in the 28/03, and he didn't make anything, not even an opinion about how are these individuals, how threatened are these individuals.
Dar vezi de treaba ta. Vezi de treaba ta. Deci vezi de treaba ta, băi, țăranule.
Vrei să pleci în sânge, ești prost și acum, dacă vrei oricând.
Băi, termină cu treburile astea. Deci pentru chestiile astea, hai să faci plată, Ionuț.
Well, in 15/06/2017, I was getting in touch with the other witness. It's called Marius Constantin, and this witness also lied. The perfect copy-paste statements as Dragoș Pintilie, the same words, the same keywords. When you read the statements, you will see it's a person, it's a lawyer involved there, and they made the statement. And I filmed him, and he confessed to me that he saw Hozu Ionuț attacked me, but he didn't feel right because I shoot with a weapon, and I told him, listen man, I use the weapon to self-defense. What can I do? If he approached me and he attacked me and he hit me with that metal object, maybe in this day I didn't have the possibility of talking with you anymore. Maybe I was real injured, and this discussion was recorded.
Dar ce ai declarat, mă, mâncați așa acolo? Că m-ai băgat în belele, nu mai știu ce cum.
Dar declarația ți-am arătat-o, frate.
Păi da, mă, frate, dar ai zis că nu s-a mișcat de la mașina acolo, ai zis că... Nu... Băi, dacă nu veniți spre mine și mi-a făcut cu mâna...
Păi și după aia ai tras, păi el după aia s-o retras. Păi el după aia s-o retras. Păi el după aia s-o retras.
Păi da, dar au venit spre mine, mâncați aș gura.
In the judicial control, I had an officer assigned as my supervisor. So he called me one time exact as the prosecutor demanded. One time a week to sign. But a person from behind auto-intitulates my supervisor named Rusescu Costel that he became my supervisor. This Rusescu Costel, I had difference of opinion because he called me 3 times a week. And every time he called me, I was not accepting this. I was not being rude to him. I complied with every officer who demanded something from me. So I was not agree with this Rusescu Costel because he called me 3 times a week unjustified. So he said he has the power, he can do whatever he wanted to do. So I go and sign 3 times a week, but I didn't agree with his measure. This officer made my life a hell. Every time I go to sign, he started to yell at me And I said, please, control yourself, because it's not a good attitude. This attitude, even if you are an officer, you don't have the right to yell at me every time I come and sign. Pack of films. I have a lot of films made in the police stations with a hidden camera. And some police officers knew about me filming because I wanted to gather proofs for my innocence. I knew that was a self-defense, that I'm an innocent man. I knew these things. I knew that 2 witnesses started to lie, and I record everybody, almost everybody. The policeman had not seen with good eyes because I was filming there. Through my duty and my profession, I record everything, and this is why I recorded this video for you, Your Honors. The next stage was the beginning of the trial. So I was in front of the same judge that activated the judicial control, and my lawyer discovered something not right in my prosecution. In the documentation, I was accused on the wrong article. I was accused of using a lethal weapon. And my attorney said to the judge, it's called preliminary room in Romanian, camera preliminară. And my attorney said to the judge that my client is accused on the wrong article, and it's accused that having a lethal weapon. My client does not have a lethal weapon. My client owns a non-lethal weapon that he used. The judge is called Sergiu Pașcu from the Bacau's court, and he started the trial with me being wrongly accused. Normally, I know that he must send it back to the prosecution, the file, and then send it back to the court and start the process. But he started a trial without making this normal procedure. The injured party and his lawyer demanded from me 10,000 euros for threatening him with a gun. I was not accused of threatening someone. I was accused of using a weapon without a right and disturbing the peace and the good order, if you can believe it, by executing a fire and from that explosion. Your Honors, I cannot shoot a silent bullet. That bullet had a big sound, and I don't know how the prosecution accused me of disturbing the peace through that sound, because they didn't say exactly how I disturbed the peace. Really brief from myself, I take gun lessons in the special design places where you can shoot with these guns, and I didn't have an obligation to do this. I did it for myself to learn to shoot with a weapon, to know to shoot and protect myself with a weapon. To continue, the injured party lawyer demanded 10,000 euros for threatening his client, but this threaten, which is a criminal law case, was not retained by the prosecutor. So he asked for 10,000 euros for nothing. When my attorney confronted him and he told me that he asks money for nothing because this act does not exist, the attorney in the next trial dates or cases think another possibility to take money from me. On 16.10.2017, I was with my family and with my electronic car of my kid. I was going home but passing near to home of one witness. Is the witness Dragoș Pintilie, who eventually I saw an individual which talked to me. He approached me and he talked to me about the Hozu brother. So I asked him if he is Dragoș Pintilie, and he admitted he is. And I had a long conversation, I don't know, of 12 minutes with him, and I was having the camera to myself. I started the camera and record the entire conversation with him, and he made me some confessions, some incredible confessions. He told me that Hozu came to his kid and he is relatively he didn't want to involve in this case so much. He hoped the case will be dissolved rapidly, and Hozu came to his kid and he didn't have how to do this. He had to lie, and he told me, if you are in my place, you have did like I did. And I said, no, I didn't. I will never do like you lied in the statements. And he said nothing, and he admitted that he saw Hozu and he saw when he attacked me.
Și zice, cine a declarat cu a venit spre mine?
Dar el a venit spre tine după ce ai scos tu arma.
Păi, corect.
Știu cu mărturiile, cum te-ai dus să te interesezi de mine, cine sunt eu, cum sunt eu, unde...
Bineînțeles, frate, vreau să știu dacă ești om corect sau nu.
Frate, dar nu-i corect. Nu-i corect.
De ce corect? Dar e corect tu să minți în declarații?
Dar nu-i corect pentru tine, îți spun.
Ok,
da?
deci
să
pentru
iei
mine.
legătura cu mine, să iei legătura cu martori, să iei legătura cu altcineva. Da?
Păi, omule, dar să văd că ai luat ceva în mână, să vii să mă lovești, dar ce dracu să fac? Dar acum, hai pe bune acum, ce dracu să fac? Păi nu, eu ți-am zis, eu vreau să ies la o cafea cu tine, eu n-am vrut alte intenții, uite. Mă vezi cum sunt.
Eu când vorbeam la telefon cu tine, nu știam ce să fac, băi, stai de viață.
Mergeam la o cafea, mergeam la un spațiu public dacă ești îngrijorat de ceva.
Eram spre un rău tău era, îți făceai rău, mâna ta, crede-mă. Și poți să te interesezi pe oriunde și să vezi ce înseamnă influențarea martorului.
Să știi că eu nu mă las până nu ies adevărul. Jur, toată viața nu mă las. Pur și simplu trebuia să zici adevărul sau să nu te bagi. Una din astea două.
Aici a fost o situație și o conjunctură.
Te-a luat și pe tine și pe Marius. Hai, că știu care-i treabă. Lui Marius cât te-a promis? I-a promis 1000 de euro.
Nu e adevărat și vrei să mă juri copilul meu.
Marius are mari probleme cu banii.
Nu. La mine nu se pune problema de treaba asta. Da? Și n-a fost asta la mine. Da? A fost tot o altă conjunctură. Da?
Mie mi se pare...
Fugiori, nu, a venit la fugiori, nu a fost...
Tu te-o băgat, știi ce ți-o făcut? Te-o atins la punctul sensibil la copil.
E adevărat asta.
Asta te-o atins.
La fel reacționai.
Atâta te rog, fii om cu coloană vertebrală. Spune ce s-a întâmplat. And he told me exactly these words. Dar el a venit la tine după ce ai scos tu arma. And this means he came at you after you take out your gun. And I said, yes, exactly. But why did you tell this detail? This was an important detail. Why did you not say into the statements? And he said to me, what do you want me to do? Hozu came to my kid. He used my kid in this story. And what can I do? And he also said to me some other interesting stuff then, which are recorded. The clip has 12 minutes. It was a discussion like I discussed in front of the camera, and a human discussion to make him confess to me. Why not? And he told me that the police, someone from police, he called him and he informed him that I want to talk with him before I did this. Mă vezi cum sunt.
Eu când vorbeam la telefon cu tine, nu știam ce să fac, băi, stai de viață. Imediat mă sunam.
Mergeam la o cafea, mergeam la un spațiu public dacă ești îngrijorat de ceva. So I find out, I do some diggings that his brother-in-law is in the anti-drug, in the police, in the anti-drug, and I believe he has involvement in this case, this person. So I talked on the public space, on the street with this witness. On the other part of the street, my bad luck was that Hozu stopped his car and saw me talked with the witnesses. And he started filming me. There are two situations. Now, I filmed with a hidden camera this witness, and Hozu filmed me talking with that witness with his phone. So the next days, my supervisor officer called me and asked me if I talked with the witnesses. I said yes. He said to give a statement. I said okay, no problem. And he asked me if I talked about the case, and I said yes. I didn't told him that I have a video recording of this with a hidden camera. I said I talked to him because I'm innocent and I don't believe, and I want to make myself proofs for this to demonstrate my innocence. And he laughed in my face and started, this is the incredible part, he started to fill up my statements by his words, not mine. So when I saw, I couldn't believe, and I called my lawyer. I went to the hall of the police station and called my lawyer and said what's happening. And my lawyer said to interrupt the statement and to wait for him. I went in a couple of days with my lawyer, and he didn't. He said, and I write on the end of the statement that I consider Rusescu Costel publishing or writing me his own words, and I don't want to give a statement. So my lawyer asked me, why did you do this? And he didn't admit to do this. And he told my lawyer, I will leave your client to write wherever he wants, laughing again. So my supervisor, Rusescu Costel, started a demand to the Bacau's court to arrest me, because I talked the second time. They thought is the second time, I thought is the first time, because I talked to the second time with the same witness. I come in the front of the Sergiu Lupașcu judge at the Bacau's court, and he asked me, he take also a statement there, and he told me, the judge, talk louder. So I begin to talk louder to hear me. And then the judge said something to me strange. He said, what are you doing? What's with this behavior? And he said to me, if you think you are an arrogant person, you will make you harm. And I said, I'm not an arrogant person. You said to me to talk louder. This is what I did. I talk louder. And he continued. And the injured party as attorney asked for my arrest. The prosecution asked for the arrest, and my supervisor officer asked me for the arrest. And the judge asked me if I wanted to get arrested or not, and I said of course not, because I didn't have acts of violence. I only talked with the witness because I didn't have a chance. The prosecutor didn't let me to have a chance to confront him, and this is what I talked. I said to the judge, and the judge decided to give me the arrest at my house, at my home. I couldn't believe the situation I was getting into. I couldn't believe that the judge could do and the prosecutor could do these things to an innocent man. And I started to consume. I was feeling exhausted. I was become to feel more bad, more palpitation I had in my chest more frequently. And when I started home arrest, Hozu Ionuț and Hozu Costel, both brothers, installed 2 surveillance cameras, and they oriented the cameras on my windows and the entry of these apartments, on the entry, to harass me and to monitor and to see if I'm going out. Perhaps this was their intentions. On the 04 December 2017, the night after 12 o'clock, in the middle of the night, I beginning to have big palpitation in my chest. I was feeling sick, and I went immediately to the emergency room, to the hospital. They made me test. They made me, it's called to the cardiology. It monitorized my heart, and they saw something. And they sent me to the cardiology room. It's special condition disease for heart disease. And the doctor there saw the exosystolic arrhythmia. The doctor informed me about this condition and give me treatment this time. At 6 o'clock in the morning, while I was in the emergency room, I called my officers. I knew that I had to call him, and I called him, and he asked me if I was taken by the ambulance, and I said I was getting frightened. I would take my personal car, and I go directly to the hospital, and he told me at the phone that he will call the judge and ask for the arrest at the police station. On the 7th December 2017, I appeared to the Sergiu Lupascu judge in front of him, and I told him the problem, and I told him my heart disease has evolved, and I got to mount myself a halter. It's called a halter. It's a special device for the chest. You put it with a lot of wires on you, and this halter monitorize your heart and to see exactly how it's beating. I asked the judge to let me to the hospital to put this halter, to mount doctors the halter, and the prosecutor, a different prosecutor, is in the Bacau's court. He said to me that I asked for an hour. The prosecutor said that is needed only a few minutes, not an hour. But he didn't think at the time that takes from my home to arrive to the hospital. He didn't think you have to wait for other people in the room. He didn't think the necessary time to mount that device. He didn't think of this. And I told him, and he started to rise up this, I don't know, things not to let me to the hospital. And I said, Mr. Prosecutor, please, you got to let me to the hospital. And I said to him, it's not possible a few minutes. And I asked him, are you a doctor? And then the judge get mad and filed me 1,000 lei. It's in Romanian lei. It's equivalent at 250 for asking the prosecutor if he is a doctor. And the judge denied my demand of going to the hospital. I told the judge my condition. I said to the judge that is bad, and I have to humiliate in front of him, in front of all that people in the courthouse, to let me to the hospital. I said, this is all I want to do. This is I want to see my heart condition. And the judge said no. I begin to appeal to his human side, and then the judge said, well, okay. I have here from Romanian Constitution the chapter about the rights and fundamental free and the right of life and physical integrity. You have to respect as a judge the Constitution of Romania. So eventually he let me. When I begged to him, yeah, he let me, but he mistakes, I don't know if it was intentional, but he mistakes my hours to the doctor, because that doctor has program or in the morning and in different days, and he give me in a different day. And that halter must be mounted to your chest in a couple of days. Well, Your Honors, I stayed 1 month before I have a chance to be led to the Bacau's hospital to mount myself that halter. And after a month of demands, of documents sent to the Bacau's court, asking the judge to let me, he let me after a month. When I went to the hospital, I went escorted by the police. When I went from my house to the court, I went alone. This is a detail. I asked this judge to let me implement a new small business for our family, for our kid, and I wanted to make a marketing research. I wanted to use the marketing mix, the SWOT analyst procedure, and the BCG procedure, Boston Consulting Group, and I wanted to a local mall from Bacau, and he denied all my demands. The only demand that Sergiu Lupascu let me was going to the doctor, and even that one misspelled it or get it wrong the days. I went to another judge on I don't know why it was another judge. I saw 5 judges on judicial control, and I saw another 2 judges on the background process. I don't know why. I saw entire 7 judges in this entire background process trial. Another judge, I went to him with the contract. I said, I have baptism, I'm a videographer, a photographer, an editor, I do these things, I'm an artist, and I want to consume this contract that I have with the client, to honor this contract. And this judge accepted my demand, and also accepted a second demand to make to sign of a new contract. In January, I felt awful with my heart disease. I didn't sleep at night. I was restless all the time. This officer had the concern to make my life a living hell.